The nation's longest living president, Jimmy Carter, is receiving tributes from across the country and around the world. The 98-year-old entered hospice care at home in Georgia over the weekend with his family at his side. NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell has more from the former president's hometown of Plains, Georgia.
A time of reflection for many in Plains, Georgia. Jimmy Carter's presidency shaping much of this town's identity. His name and likeness everywhere.
Plains has just been the focal point of our life.
A journey with Rosalind, shared since their childhoods and during 76 years of marriage. As former presidents send good thoughts, so do many admirers.
He's kind of given us a little bit of time to reflect on him while he's still alive.
That is perhaps the unexpected result of President Carter making public his decision to move to hospice care at his Plains home. At 98, he's offered a signal about being at peace with death, as he discussed openly in 2015.
But now I feel, that it's in the hands of God, whom I worship, and I'll be prepared for anything that comes.
Now others are coming to Plains to honor him in whatever time remains.
What he did for the poor, for the disadvantaged, and all over the world to try to make a difference.
Andrew and Sam McMullen made a last-minute detour on their road trip to see the Carter hometown.
We're here because it's an honor to be in the presence of a president.
The McMullens feel a connection to one of Carter's most enduring acts of service, Habitat for Humanity.
He came to my small Appalachian hometown of Huntington, Pennsylvania, and he built a house. He was one of the first to drive the nails.
His dedication to great causes was rooted here in Plains and resonates around the world.
You know, Joe, you hear that report from Kelly and you hear all those people who had real world impact from Jimmy Carter, and you're reminded of so much of the legacy that he will leave is for what he did after the presidency, when he left the White House in 1981, whether it was Habitat for Humanity, working on peace in the Middle East, et cetera. He was sort of a model for a post-presidency for presidents after him.
He really was. And, Andrea, we talk so much about Jimmy Carter's post-presidency, but the further we get away from his presidency, at least to me, the more he looks like a Truman-type figure, what Truman did in 47. You look what happened in 1979, in that 1 year. It's shaped the world we live in. China opened, the opening to China in January of 79. You have the Camp David Accords in 79, which eliminated ground wars in the Middle East since 1979. You have the Iranian, obviously, revolution, which, of course, ushered in a terrible time. Also, you have the Russians going into Afghanistan, which was the beginning of the end of the Soviet Empire, along with Solidarity the next year. But it is unbelievable. You look, even with China and Camp David, Carter's foreign policy accomplishments, you can stack them up with just about any president since Truman.
Absolutely. I mean, if not for the hostage taking, there might have been a very different review. I'm not sure he would have ever won against Ronald Reagan, but if not for the hostage taking, I think that the review and inflation, which had to which he had to force down domestically. But the foreign policy was extraordinary. I mean, the China policy is now being tested in its most severe way as we see what may or may not happen with Taiwan, but look how long that's lasted. Netanyahu's new policies are certainly the biggest threat to the Camp David Accords and everything that followed it that we've ever seen, given this coalition. But it was, and covering that, I was a backup young correspondent covering him, going to Plains for Christmas and Thanksgiving, and the pool reporter on Sunday school lessons of the president. But I remember the night of the inaugural, and the Iranians, of course, waited till 12:01 to release the hostages. There were so many false starts. There was one when the press corps came back suddenly from Chicago right before the election, and we were going to be released, and we had all of those hopes, and it was just the fits and starts. But that night, after being at the parade and covering the inaugural and all of that, I was sent to Andrews Air Force Base because Jimmy Carter was leaving at midnight to go to Ramstein because he wanted to and it was obviously the Reagan presidency asked him to do this. He no longer had any power. He wanted to escort the hostages home. They had been released just after his watch. It was a personal tragedy for him, but there was going to be a big parade when they did eventually come back to Washington. And he was leaving, and I was covering his departure for Germany because he was going to personally escort those diplomats.
And when he went over, had that meeting, it was at times it was a tough, difficult meeting. A lot of weeping. David Ignatius, though, I'll tell you what. You look back at it. Mika and I recently saw an HBO special, I think it's a 4-part special on the hostage crisis. The humanity that Jimmy Carter showed, understanding that doing everything he could to save the hostages' lives could very well cost him his presidency. He did it anyway. And those hostages would not have been alive. All of them would not have survived but for Jimmy Carter, because too many other politicians, too many other presidents sitting there would not have had the humanity to just wait it out, which was, of course, horrifying for him and painful for him, but he did it.
Watching these scenes these days from Georgia are inspiring, because you remember the qualities of this decent man, but also haunting, because there's a reputation that Jimmy Carter carried after his presidency, that he'd been a weak president. And I think he's beginning to get over that. In so many ways, he was tough. As you said at the outset, he stood up to the Soviets in Afghanistan. From my own reporting, I know that he began the program to work with Soviet nationalities in Georgia, in Armenia, in Kazakhstan, across these republics. They began to get money
and again,
support.
And of course, in Afghanistan, and also in 1980, after Solidarity, when the Soviets were going into Poland, he devised a plan, kept the Soviet Union out of Poland, made them understand the costs would be too high for invading Poland.
So he is this paradox of the sweetest and best parts of our character, but a feeling that the country had at the time: is he strong enough to be our president? But I hope people will remember him as just this remarkable and, in many ways, tough-minded person he was.
Gene, final thought?
No, I mean, what an incredible life he had. We had an incredible story the other day about his pre-presidency life when he was in the nuclear navy, a pioneer in the nuclear navy. And there was a nuclear reactor accident in Canada, of all places. He was one of the few people in this country qualified to go in and fix it. So Jimmy Carter, when he was in the Navy, was sent in to fix inside this reactor.
Unbelievable. Andrea Mitchell, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure to see you.
As always, it's great to see you.